Thanks for having us. My name is Vlad. I'm product owner with the Emag website.
And I am Bogdan. I'm product owner with the mobile apps in Emag. And we're here to share with you some of our experiences, good and bad, from Emag, on how apps and website fit together. And to do so, we like to get back to the beginning. A long time ago, about 15 years, the Emag website was king, okay? And
those were the days.
yeah. And then mobile revolution started. The nice thing about Emag is that it already had a version of the mobile website ready. And since then up until now, things changed dramatically. Now the mobile website for Emag has millions of users each week. And it's number one in traffic and number one in new user acquisition when compared to the desktop and the applications. And now with a loading speed of less than 4 seconds, the average loading speed, you can use Emag website on any device without the need of installing an application. So some of the people or our customers might ask, why do we need apps? You know, we can use Emag on the mobile website. First, a user will be 3 times more likely to purchase something than when using the mobile website. And when we look at our customers that have the app installed, basically they have a higher customer lifetime value. And what we mean by that is that the users who have the application, they come back more often to Emag and they purchase more. And let me just give you 2 ways in how the Emag applications are better than the mobile website. And one of them is you can easily enable rich push notifications that you can use to retarget users, and they're more effective than email. But also, if you use them in the user's interest, it drives more retention, meaning it drives more visits to Emag. And even if the website is fast, it's not app lightning fast. I mean, you just can't get these type of transitions or animations on the mobile website without doing like a lot of work, okay? So what my point here is that even though the mobile website drives traffic and drives new users, it is the app who converts better. So everybody should see apps as the finish line on the user's journey on mobile devices, okay? And I've been talking about mobile so far, so maybe you guys are questioning, yeah, who needs desktop website anymore, right? Why don't we all just go mobile? And for that, I'll let Vlad explain.
Thank you for the nice introduction. Who needs website, desktop, okay. It is true. The landscape has changed quite a bit in the past few years, and yes, mobile took the world by storm. But I still have some news for you guys, and desktop is still king, at least in one major aspect, and I hope it will stay that way for a long time. And that aspect is kind of important because we're talking about revenue, and on Emag, 66% or over 66% of revenue comes from the desktop website. Not only that, the average order value is almost 20% higher than what's going on mobile. And why is that? Why is that happening? Well, we have to look at buying patterns, and mobile is great. It's always with you. You can quickly check prices when you're in store. And it's really good for impulse shopping because smartphones are the ultimate time killer. And when we're bored, we take out our smartphone. You get a newsletter, or a push notification, and you click on something. It has a good price. You don't need it. What the heck? I'll buy it anyway. And it's also really good for recurrent shopping, for products that you don't think about too much, things you buy over and over again and you use every day, like, I don't know, shampoo or deodorant or groceries. And those are like easy decision-making purchases. But mobile doesn't do as well when it comes to complex and/or expensive products. Now, what I mean by complex is that you have to understand fit for purpose, what's right for you. You have to understand what features you need. What are the minimum features for you? You have to compare versions of that product or compare brands. You have to compare prices across multiple sellers. All in all, you have to do research, and sometimes research is hard work. And research is all about information, and desktop is still better at that because it has a bigger screen, you can have multiple tabs open, and it's easy to navigate from one site to another. If you want to read like user reviews, specialized reviews, and compare prices and anything else. Also, the checkout flow tends to be easier on desktop because of the bigger screen size. I must admit the apps are really, really close when it comes to conversion rate, but desktop is still king in that category. All in all, it's much, much better when it comes to hard decision making. When you buy products that are expensive, that you're going to use for many years, and you know, that decision has a little bit of weight. But that's not the entire story. When I said desktop is king in revenue, it's not an either-or decision, because customers already use multiple channels. They already browse on different devices. And there are different product categories that have different shopping behaviors. So what we're trying to do is use each platform for what it does best. Also, you have to try and make all three platforms work together and create a virtuous cycle. And that's what we call synergy. And desktop gets a lot of help from mobile. That's the truth. 1 in 3 users that buy from desktop visited Emag on a mobile device before purchasing on desktop. But it's also the apps that benefit from the web. When it comes to the user journey that Bogdan mentioned, we use, you know, like simple implementation, you know, a banner highlighting the app. Everybody has that on their mobile site. We also use deep links that takes you to the app if you have it installed, and also Google App Indexing, which makes it available in web searches. So all in all, it's not an either-or. They all help each other. You have to find the way to make them work together. And one of the best parts, you have fallback. I mean, I don't know if you see that guy's face, but he's happy he has fallback, and we're also happy because if you have a problem in one of your products, the user can always use the other platforms. And that sounds really nice in theory from the business perspective, but the fact is you have limited resources. You cannot do everything at once on all platforms, and the question is, how do you share resources? And for that, I would like Bogdan to continue.
Yeah, so like Vlad said, how do you share the resources? When you have a product timeline that looks something like this, when you've been developing the website for 15 years, you've been developing the mobile website for 7 years, and then you come with a mobile app, right? How do you go about catching all these existing features and going in parallel and implementing new features? Well, the secret here is to build the core features on your newest product. Those are the features that you build, you cannot release without building them, and try to borrow or share some of the existing features from the other platforms. These shared features are usually the features that either don't provide enough value to build them at that moment, or they're too volatile. They change a lot, you just can't keep up with developing. And one way we in the application borrow stuff from the website is basically we open up a web view with that specific feature until it's stable enough to implement it natively. But probably the most important thing is when you develop new stuff, make sure you build it on the platform where you can learn the fastest what's important for you in your business. And I'm going to explain this just by giving you an example. Last year in Emag Apps, we implemented safeguard details. So it was firstly implemented in the application. The reason behind it was that first the API of the application was a stronger API than the website, and it allowed us for an easier integration with the payments processing company. Yeah. Second was that mobile devices are more secure and more personal, so it took some of the load off from thinking how we can better secure our product, because we're talking about user-saved cards, okay? And third was from a product perspective is because mobile has a touch interface, we basically package it in a way that, okay, you can save your card details and then you can just pay by a swipe, okay? So it was easier for us to address the user because we gave them one more reason to do it, okay? What's nice about this is that we've learned a lot of lessons that we passed down to mobile website, okay? One of them was the dependencies of the third payment processing company, okay? And what dependencies, limitations they have and how they work. Second was the whole solution architecture that we established. Now they borrowed it and improved it as they went on. And also they saw how our users, the app users, use this feature so they can fix the problems that we're experiencing and deliver something even better when it's out. This allowed the web to focus on stuff like specific security stuff, specific security problems for the web, on their new UX, and also how to improve our product. Okay, so this is, you can see how the two products help each other, interact one another. But we've been talking about, you know, how apps and websites are merged and work together from a business perspective. But I guess you guys are interested, you know, as a developer, as a product owner, as anybody that's working on an online product, which do I choose? Yeah, I mean, how do I go about? What do I want to do? And to answer this, we should look at different stages in the development process and see where are the differences and where stuff are alike. So I want to start out by the methodology we use in Emag. We use Scrum and Agile. And the setup is fairly similar. We have 2 development teams in the apps. Website have 5 front-end development teams, and they're yeah, and they're backed up by each by a back-end team. We work in 2-week sprints, and we usually try to fit the agile process to work with the context of Emag. Okay, so one thing here is just don't do it because you have to. You just see how it fits better to the way you're working, and try to learn from one another. Okay, this is for the methodology. But when we start looking at the releases that we each do per year, things are a little bit different. So with the application, we do about 12 releases per year, and on the website, they can go up to 300. The reason is that for the application, the release process is a little bit difficult. You have to submit your application, you have to wait for it to get approved by Apple. Nowadays, Apple approves it a little bit faster than it used to, but you still have problems exactly when you need it approved the most, you know. And third, and I think the most important one, is you have to wait for users to catch up and use the latest version of your application. Okay, so there's a curve, right, for them to update to the latest version. So how do we get this right? I mean, we only have one chance when we release, you know. Well, we use various tools in different segments of the release process, okay? So we've been very happy with Fabric from Twitter. We use them in the build process. We use them to send the builds to all our testers, to send them to beta testers and kind of get feedback. And they have like this really, really good dashboard where you can see how many times this build crashed for your testers. It's just great. We use Jenkins to make our own builds, to take some of the load off of our colleagues from development, and they can concentrate on building code. And we use tools such as APM for automation and automated tests, so that our QA team focuses more on exploratory testing. And now they're looking like how to catch bugs that normally are not caught by tools such as APM. Okay. And when we submit to stores, we're very careful in this. What we do is we submit gradually to users. And what we do is we put 10% of our users to the newest apps, and we monitor. And if everything is okay, then we go 100%. And we can do this very easily on Google with the help of Google Stage Rollout, which is a really simple way to deliver your app and make sure you're not bothering all your users, you know, if you have a crash. We also use Fastlane. We use it in the submit process for building automated images that we upload to the stores so that users can see what the application is all about. And in the monitor phase, I mean, okay, you put your build out, now it's go or no go, you know. And we actually use Slack for monitoring also. Probably you guys know or use Slack for chatting or communicating with your team members, but Slack, as you probably know, has all these features and integrations with other third parties. And one nice integration we have is there is a chatbot. We have a group with all the developers, and there's a chatbot that updates us in real time when somebody gives us a review on the stores, right? So if somebody comments or if you guys give us a review, we'll see it right away. And even though it seems simple, it creates this urgency. Okay, it's different when you say once a week, let's look over the reviews, and it's something when everybody in the team says, oh my God, somebody just had a crash. Let's see how we can fix it, okay? We also use answers, again from Fabric. Answer is a really good way to see how your application, how healthy is your application, because it shows you how many of the users updated to the latest version, but it also shows user behavior, like time in application, or if they purchase the same as the previous build. So it's a very, very good tool to monitor. And also, of course, Crashlytics. We have to watch out to not crash the app when we release it. And because of Crashlytics and the information it gives us for each crash, we are now for a few months, if not 1 year, to over 99.5 crash-free users, which is it's a good thing to have when you have an application and you can't change that often, you know. Yeah, so that's about the release process with the applications, and I want to ask Vlad, why do they make so many releases? And maybe he can explain.
No, to be honest with you, that number might be a bit bumped up for presentational purposes. And I think that half of those releases are just minor updates to hotfix bugs. But anyway, it's true. On the website, we don't have these limitations, and it's a good thing and it's a bad thing at the same time, or it can be a very bad thing if you're not careful. So the first thing, it's faster. Everybody knows why. I don't have to get in the details. And that's really good. That's really good because as a business, if you want to be number one, this is the internet. I mean, it changes really fast, and you have to be there every day and be ahead of the pack. So time to market for your product is really, really important. And sometimes only the first guy that crosses the finish line gets the reward. The others don't get anything. It's also good because it allows you to be a lot more agile. You can release something. If something goes wrong, you can revert or you can hotfix immediately. And it also allows you to react better to what happens on the market, whether it's, I don't know, something external or a campaign you want to release. And for a developer, it's really nice because you get your code out really fast unless that code breaks the site, which, you know, it's not so good anymore. The most important part is that it allows you to experiment more. The first part of experimentation is A/B testing, and yes, you can do A/B testing in apps, but on the web, it's a lot easier. And those tests are important. And it also allows you to test ideas, because to be really, really honest with you, as a product owner, you don't know what's going to work. I mean, you have ideas, and sometimes you think it's a great idea, and you talk it with the team, and the team thinks it's a great idea, and you work on UX, and you develop it, and you release it, and then you look at the data, and not only you didn't improve anything, you broke it. It happens, and everybody in the team said it would be a great idea, and this is why it's good to be as incremental as possible. And from a web product owner perspective, instead of one big release at the end of the month, I would rather have, I don't know, 4 small releases. And we do that a lot. We try an idea, we get the minimum viable product out, we look at the data, we see how users interact with it. Sometimes it just doesn't work. Maybe it's a bug that you missed, or maybe it's a UX problem and users don't get what you want from them. And sometimes you design a product in a certain way, but the users use it in a completely different way. And that happens. And as a product owner, you don't have a crystal ball. I mean, nobody has a crystal ball. And you just have to try out new ideas. And our mantra is, and I know you heard this a lot, it's build fast and it's fail fast. And in order to be number one in an internet industry and to stay number one, as I said, you have to be ahead of the pack. You have to understand trends. You have to understand what will stick and what will fail. Yeah, you just got to be there. And otherwise, if you keep it safe and you just copy others, you are not going to get to the top by any means. The second part is a bit harder to understand. What does fail fast mean? Well, it means, first of all, you have to acknowledge every once in a while you're going to fail. That just happens. When you try new things, there is a possibility, sometimes even a big possibility, that it's not going to work out from your first try. And you're going to have to try again and again until you get it right. What fail fast means is that you have to understand really fast if what you did was good or was not as good, and you have to take action immediately and correct the course. And this is actually what truly being agile means, and not just following a methodology. So it's more how you think of things and how you approach things than just a methodology you try to adopt in your company. And speaking of failures, I know, there's an elephant in the room and everybody knows it, and we had some majestic failures you all know about, and yeah, we can talk about them. We sold resealed products very, very cheap, like for $1, which was really nice for our consumers. And it went out in the media. And in the first year that I started working in Emag, everybody had the same question. I mean everybody, and I get that question even today too, and I think some of you have that question. Was it a marketing campaign? No. No, come on, you can tell me the truth. I said, no, it was just a mistake. Did anybody get fired? I said, no, nobody got fired. It was like the most disappointing story for everybody, and they just couldn't cope with the fact that, we just made a mistake. It wasn't a very, very smart marketing campaign. It was just a mistake. But it turned out all right. It turned out okay. And speaking about our second blunder, because we also have to talk about the apps, I think you all know Dan. Everybody knows Dan. Dan became so famous and so popular that even big brands got a liking for Dan. And again, it's an example of how sometimes, even when you don't do it right, it can turn out all right. And my personal experience, what I have learned, and it's not a company thing, it's just my personal experience, is that when you really give it your best, and you take ownership for your mistakes, and you learn from your mistakes, and you stay true to yourselves and to your value, even bad things can turn out to be a good thing. And that's actually what defines learning from your mistakes. I'm not saying that we encourage mistakes by any means. It's just we're not afraid to try, and we are aware that sometimes it might not go as good as we want it to. Okay, now getting back to the technology part. As you can see from the board, we are big open source fans of the website. We use PHP 7. We just released the update to 7, and the performance improvements are really, really something. You really should check it out. For caching, we use APC, Varnish, RabbitMQ for communicating between the apps. When it comes to databases, MySQL, Couchbase, Mongo, and Solr for search and listings. Please don't ask me how Couchbase and Mongo interact. And for automation, we use Jenkins, German for cron jobs, and Codeception for automated testing. Now, given the product timeline that Bogdan showed you earlier, and the site is really old, but still new and still king, and the apps are really new and really cool. How about the architecture? And yeah, it could get messy when you have this much history and this much legacy. To be frank, it doesn't look as bad as I thought it would when I started thinking about this slide. At the core of our online systems is the EOS Emag online system. It's a library. It's a core library that serves both the mobile API that gives data to the apps, and the WW, and that's a wrapper for the desktop version and the M-site version of the site. This is where we were. This is where we are heading. We already started to work on an universal API that will work both with the app and the desktop and the mobile site. The apps are already written in native code. And for the website, we started developing a completely new front-end framework. We called it Photon. It's really good performance-wise. It has vanilla.js and all kinds of sexy stuff. And it's really nice because it will allow us to have integrated UX interface across both a mobile site and desktop site. It's not just wishful thinking, it's already live. The current product page of the desktop site is using this API and the Photon framework. We are transitioning the M site version of the product page. The apps will also catch up very soon. And in case you were wondering, yeah, we are also working on the listing, and we are going to get rid of that refresh every time you select a filter. Yeah, a little birdie told us that people from Yash did this website. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Okay. So getting back to the question we started from as a developer, how do you choose and what are the pros and cons? From our perspective, it doesn't matter. It's just a matter of preferences and what you like to do. If you like to work with native code, apps are great. I'm also an undeclared fan of apps. If you want to do front end, it's just as fine. If you want to just work with backend APIs and be left alone about campaigns and stuff, it's also really great. I think that the thing that most matters is what I said earlier. Try new stuff. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Learn from your mistakes, and it's going to be fine. Okay, so regarding the I don't know how we mix business and personal life and teams and all that. We really have a simple motto, and it's deliver and have fun. You have to deliver products. You have to, those products have to have business value and drive growth, but you also have to have fun while doing that. And about the atmosphere, I will let Bogdan tell you some more.
Yeah, so as Vlad said, we want to deliver and we want to have fun. Atmosphere can be defined by various events in Emag, and I think one of the coolest things that happens in Emag is the Emag Hackathon, where basically 20-30 teams just come together, and for 24 hours they just build this really awesome stuff, awesome products, working with the latest technology. I mean, just this year we had like working with drones and see how the newest technology can improve Emag products. All while having lots of fun. We have all these gadgets and stuff to try out, and eating burgers from Burger Van. And of course, at the end, there are some prizes. And this year, yeah, the mobile app team won one of the prizes for an application we did. We actually did a chatbot. We used the newest API from Facebook that allows you to create a chatbot on Facebook, and then we ported the experience in the mobile application. So it was a really, really nice setup and end product that resulted in just, okay, maybe 12 hours, because we also had fun and we did a lot of stuff, right? So it just goes to show that if you connect people to the same scope, they have the same scope, they can release something really nice in just 12 hours, you know. We also have these type of events, you know. This is just from 2 days ago. We were here in Yash, and our team just sent us, they did matching outfits. They seemed nice, and we wanted to share this with you. And Vlad and I, at one point, we had an idea to do Mustache Day, okay? So
it seemed like a great idea.
Yeah, at that moment it seemed like a great idea, but in the morning when you have to go to work and you have a mustache and you have to go like 40 minutes to work, and then all these guys go out to eat. It's a different view of the idea we just had. But
it's just like releases.
Exactly. But we're doing all this stuff, and it kind of comes natural because we know that we need to be prepared mentally, and we need to be prepared in all ways for one of the most important days for us, which you probably know is Black Friday. And I was discussing with Vlad how to present this to you, like how to tell you what the feeling is for us when we work in the night of Black Friday. And I think he said it best. He said that this year he learned how to ski, he learned how to rock climb, and nothing compares to the 1 hour before we want to go live with Black Friday in terms of adrenaline. It's just huge adrenaline rush, but it's a very energizing moment. Yeah, so I think this wraps up our presentation. Thank you so much for listening to us. I hope that some of the things we presented to you, are really, really good and help you make some good decisions along the way. And just thank you so much.
Thanks.
So if you have questions for us.
Yeah, and we have prizes for questions.
We have prizes for questions?
Yeah, we have prizes for questions.
Yes. They are surprises. The prizes?
They're coming. They're coming. Just ask a better question. And
wondering if the website will crash again this year on Black Friday.
yeah, I'm also wondering that. It didn't crash last year, so I don't know why you said also this year. Yes, this happens. It's Black Friday.
I think regarding to this, it's what Vlad was saying about fallback, right? When you have multiple channels, if you have a crash, then you're probably gonna want to use the application for that. But you'll get that PlayStation or whatever, that hot product that everybody's looking for. So yeah, right now you have more options than you had a few years ago. So yeah.
When you do the same mistakes with the price of the mobile app?
Yeah, it's their turn, actually. Yeah, I hope they do. And you hope too. Everybody does.
Well, we said we're going to learn from our mistakes. And we're trying to do so. I hope not, because it will take not 1 minute to release, but it will take a few days, so you guys can, we shouldn't do it.
I have a small question. When you started to add mobile support, did you have to restructure the whole website or something like to expose the services, or it was already built in?
Do you want the short answer or the really technical answer? I can give you the short answer. But sounds nice. It's all about saying great stories. That's what people come to for these events. No, well, Christy is in the house here, and he developed the API for the mobile apps, and now he's our team lead for the mobile apps team. We used the core library, the EOS, and we built on top of it. We duplicated some stuff, but mostly we didn't duplicate code. So it's not a big mess. We still have some things to sort out. That's why we're working on the universal API. But it's a lot better than I thought it would be when I came to Emag, actually.
Yeah, so you still have the mobile version of the website on a subdomain, like m.emag.ro.
Yeah.
Is this a good practice, in your opinion, from an SEO perspective, let's say?
I think this is more in Vlad's camp with the website. Yeah, so he'll answer. I mean, it's still part of the website, so it's part of their strategy.
Okay, for us it's still an open question, actually. and we're talking about it a lot. We're gonna try to use different views. We already have a scalable version, first of all. We don't know if we want to use it. That's the big question, because you really should optimize all your resources when it comes to mobile. So it doesn't matter that the front end scales that much. You also have to really optimize the resources. And right now we are pondering whether to use only one version that's fully scalable, or use the same framework we built for front end, but tailor the M-site view and keep the subdomain. From search perspective, it doesn't hurt. And what we are trying to achieve is fastest loading time and really good touch experience. So for that, we might have to tailor the framework we're working at for front end, and we might keep the subdomain, but it's not a decision. We're still talking about it, and it's an endless conversation. So.
Okay, thank you. I actually have another question for Bogdan. Have you thought about integrated the accelerated mobile pages project, the one from Google, which is backed up by Google, in fact? I don't know if you've heard of it.
From what, so we thought about building the application native or using some of the frameworks out there, okay? So when we looked at that, we decided to go fully native because we have more control over it, and sometimes frameworks prove to be a success, and then you switch to the next framework. And this was a technical architecture decision, which is normally responsibility is split between the person that knows best. So this was a technical decision took by our architects and team leads, mainly because we have more control over it, and we had a lot of pressure, that the application needs to perform good or better. So we didn't want that many dependencies. Okay, but I think the guys are still looking at it, and it's never too late, to change.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
So for the mobile apps, in terms of quality, is there anything that you do special, considering that you get to release production code only 12 times a year versus web where released 300 times a year? So the code has to have probably much better quality.
Sorry, can you repeat?
For the mobile apps, how do you ensure code quality? Is there anything special that you do for that?
How do you party? Is that the question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, how?
How do you party?
I understand. Well, I mentioned the release process and what we do to kind of make sure the application goes out. I mean, we have these various checkpoints, okay? We have 1 month of release, so what we do is, because we work in 2-week sprints, we have one sprint that is fully for developing new features, and then the next sprint, when we look at it, what we need to release, we keep part of it for fixing the bugs, okay? So we manage it from the way we take workload in our sprints to make sure we cover the bug fixes and release once a month. I'm not sure if your question was, should we release faster or no?
No. I was just curious how you do it now in terms of development versus testing quality of the product.
So this was, yeah? Okay.
Thanks.
Many companies use SAP to connect the mobile or the web version in order to see all the orders, or I don't know, maybe they want a discount for some products or anything else. Mm-hmm. What do you use, and do you think to use SAP maybe in the future or something like this?
So you mean how do we look at our users and track data, right? And
yes.
Yeah, I understand. Well, analytics is one thing we didn't speak in our in our presentation, and we use various tools. So, for example, we have our own internal analytics and team that get all the events from our application, build the main reports that everybody looks for, and then we use that information to target them via our targeting team, okay? But besides this, we implement Google Analytics, we also have Fabric, we also have some user behavior analytics, Firebase, Facebook Analytics. So we have various tools. We're now in the process of, because we're collecting all this data, we're in the process of making sure we stick to 2 or 3 and use those to connect to the users better. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
No, if a customer placed an order today, he or she will get the price at the moment in which she placed that order. So even in the case of mistakes with the prices, we're always going to fulfill that order at the price that the customer had seen on the website. So no, we don't change it. Yes, we have an automated flow for order processing, and when there are differences, even very small differences, those orders get out of the automated flow and are handled manually. So yeah, it should be a fail-safe system from this point of view.
Do you have some kind of AI that tracks the user movement and in time into the website, and that increases the price and maximizes the profit for the Emag?
Now we're trying to lower the price. So we're working with machine learning technology for automated pricing, but it's not about, right now at least, I don't know, but it's not about higher profits per se. It's about being competitive, being better than the others. It's about conversion. It's not about making the prices go up.
And just to complete Vlad's answer is whether we talk about machine learning or big data, we're trying to kind of get the basics done, right? So even with machine learning, we're looking at, maybe we show you the best recommendations for you, right? We have to nail that, and then move to higher level stuff. The same way with data, we're looking now how to make sure we correct the right analytics to not go wrong about, okay, and then go into more finesse things, okay? That's what we're always looking at. I mean, yeah, I hope it helps the answer, yeah. Last question.
The mobile application use the same server with the website?
No, and I'm going to tell you what I know. I'm not the most technical guy in the group, but from the start, the mobile application had its own API. Okay, so even though sometimes some of the functionality is built in the back and they needed to copy it, but the API was different for the mobile than the website. And to complete the answer, that helped us a lot because, like you mentioned, prices and all this stuff, a lot of logic, almost all the logic is built in the server side. And these APIs that we built makes this available. So the application only, it just shows screens and is mostly interested in making transition, working fast, loading fast, okay? But the logic is on the server.
Yes, it's good to know for Black Friday.
Yes, but can you elaborate more?
Okay, so I think that's about it. These are all the questions. We have the prizes to award. Yeah. Do you have a candidate?
Yeah. Okay, let's split, okay? You take that side and I take this side. You give out 2. I give out 2. And I'm going to give to... Okay. You, and you can choose.
Okay, we have one there.
I guess you're stuck with what? Okay. Okay.
And I still have one more. I don't remember stuff. Okay. Did you there?
So I gave her one, and
okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks guys. Thanks for your nice questions.
Thanks.